I'll take one more deep breath before we come back. Thank you. So, Nanette, I would maybe each of us just say our name and where we are located or where we call home before we do a longer introduction. So, I think today what we're going to do is an update on PISLAP activities, and there's a lot to share. And then what we thought we would do is just go around the circle and share what's been important for us. And so we'll say a little bit more, but why don't we just go around and um, just for the sake of time and efficiency, I'll just call out your name and share your name and where you are located for the time being. And then we're going to call on Annette and Rebecca and myself, the executive team members that are here on this call. And we're going to share some updates, exciting stuff. And then we're going to open up the community, the PieSlap community circle, to hear from each of us. So, why don't we begin with, we'll go in the order people came in. Mary Ann, maybe you go first.
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Marianne. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And Virginia.
Virginia. Hello, everyone. And I live in Australia, but I'm living in San Francisco, in the Bay Area of San Francisco for the next couple of years.
Great. Kim.
Um, Good afternoon. Good morning to those of us on the West Coast. And I'm also in California.
Mm.
Great. Stu.
Yeah, my name is Stu. I'm from Minneapolis. So wonderful to see some people I haven't seen for a long time. And hi, Rebecca. And Virginia Coburn was present at the PISLAP gathering in Washington, what, 10 years ago or something? And,
2018.
and we've been in communication for a long time, but well, it's so wonderful to see you all from Minneapolis. And we had a lot of action here with the surge, and we've been doing our part here to hold the low of each of us. Over and out.
Thanks, Stu. Hans.
Hi, yeah. I'm Hans Nanette, and my older friends call me Heino, but in Heino, which is the nickname. I'm in San Francisco.
Thanks, Hanno. And Rebecca.
Hello, friends. I am Rebecca, and I am right now, although it looks like I'm in a lovely garden, I am in Washington, D.C., and have been in a bunch of cities this week. So I've got to think before I say what city I'm in. Right now, I'm in D.C. Back to you, Craig.
Yeah, and before I turn it over to Nanette, I'm Craig Neal, and I am in Minneapolis. Nanette, you're on mute.
Sorry about that, everyone. Um, well, we wanted to give you an update on PISLAP, and I think um, the first and most important uh, development is Rebecca Vallis and Craig Neal joining the executive committee as leaders and activists, and we're just thrilled to have them. It's been a great addition to our group. So welcome to Rebecca and Craig. Both of them have been involved for a good while before they actually joined the EC, but we're really delighted to have them. They've brought wonderful new energies to the work. So we wanted to tell you, first of all, and Rebecca, you can tell me if you're able to present for a few minutes. We are working on a project to develop a Peter Gable archive, institute, and reader. All those in various stages of development and fairly early in the process. But this is a collaboration with Lisa Jakes, Peter's lifetime partner, and some other folks that have joined the effort. And I'm going to turn to Rebecca to say a few words about what we're trying to accomplish and where we are right now, if she
Thank,
can.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to, Nanette. Thank you.
great.
And uh, it is a subject of great excitement for those of us who have been part of some conversations with Lisa, given that Lisa was able to get a little bit of money from the Levinson Foundation to create the first ever Peter Gable archive. And so she approached PISLAP, and we have entered into a partnership with her to support her in developing that archive. It's been really wonderful and exciting to have sort of a small group supporting the executive committee and thinking that through with Lisa. And in the last couple of weeks, we've moved from ideas and potential ways forward into what now actually is a work plan for a phase 1 and a phase 2 of a digital archive that take Peter's writings that have been published, and then eventually many of Peter's unpublished writings and notes, and pull them into a searchable, tagged database that people will be able to engage with. So really excited to have someone who was actually close with Peter and who worked with him in a research assistant and other capacities, named Paige. Nanette, help me with Paige's last name.
Painter.
Um,
I'm sorry, Panter.
Paige Panter, wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful young woman, helping as the project lead to get the digital archives together in phase 1 and phase 2. And part of what's incredibly exciting about the opportunity to partner with Lisa in this way is that there had been a number of conversations happening at a couple of the past retreats, the one in Minneapolis, where I first got connected with PISLAP a few years ago, then the one in North Carolina that Kim Wright had helped to coordinate, and then most recently this past year in DC, lots of conversations and interest around what could it look like to create a reader that takes some of Peter's core writings, puts them into a digestible format. This was actually an idea of Doug Amar's, who I just saw this week when I was in Atlanta. And what could it look like to take that archive and that reader and start to build momentum towards the potential for a Gable Institute for the integration of spirituality, law, and politics, something that is not a new idea, but that has been sort of swirling in the PISLAP field for some time. The idea being that it could be a hub for scholarship, for thought leadership, and for continuing so many of the ideas that Peter really gave form to in his writings, and that PISLAP has continued to create a container for bringing into the world. So I've been really excited and honored and privileged to be part of some of these conversations and helping to give shape to some of the options that we've been pursuing for the archive and how it can build into a reader and the potential for a concept note for an institute. And we are very interested in anyone raising their hand and letting us know that they want to be involved in some way. Nanette, does that work for you? Other things you want to add, or Craig?
No, that to me, that's perfect. Thank you
Great.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Great.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. So we'll open it up for feedback in a little bit, but the other initiative that we're working on right now, and really have just started, is an exciting opportunity to host a retreat, a PISLAP community retreat in Minneapolis this October, potentially October 9th through 11th. And that, I'm going to turn it to Craig to say a few more words in a second, but just as a headliner, it would bring PISLAP members together with local leaders in the Minneapolis resistance to learn more about that effort in Minneapolis as an inspiring example of the integration of spirituality, law, and politics, and then to, glean the insights that we might have from that learning and use it to help build the work of PISLAP. So I'll turn it to Craig to say a few more words as a local Minneapolisan who has also been quite involved in this in the process
Thank you.
that's happening there.
Yeah. So for those of you not in the area, and I know you're close in Milwaukee, Marianne. But
Yes.
here in Minnesota, I want to say Minneapolis gets a lot of the headlines, but it's really the region. As you all know, back in December, the Metro surge, ICE basically invaded our area with 3,500 ICE agents. The response was very different than it was after the murder of George Floyd. Um, we did not meet violence with violence. We met violence with witnessing and neighborliness. And so hopefully, and it'd be hard to miss the headlines, the social media, the television reports on what happened here and what's still happening here. I just want to make a note here that ICE has not left. They have just changed tactics. So what we want to do, along myself, and Bruce Peterson, who some of you know, a judge here and a longtime PISLAP member, are putting together a good day on Saturday. We think will be on the 10th of October, with hopefully the Attorney General, members of leadership within the community, church and religious leaders, as well as you've probably heard of singing resistance, and you've heard of other aspects of what is commonly known as the resistance here. It was multifaceted, very decentralized. There were no leaders. I mentioned leaders, but the fact that we really were a spontaneous, unstructured, meaning on a leadership level, initiative that brought together thousands and thousands of people to create what I think you're reading about. And so I think it's a major opportunity for PISLAP to come together to integrate spirituality, law, and politics, because that's what's happening here, and using this as an opportunity to gather us at, what a lot of people are calling ground zero once again, but in a very different way. So hopefully you'll be able to come, and we'd love to hear from you, one way, not one way or another, but the invitation is there. And we hope to have around 20 people. Lissa and Bruce have offered their home to have a dinner on Friday evening, the first night. So it's going to have a very intimate feel to this retreat. Anything else, Rebecca or Nanette, that you'd like to share?
Just to add, I just put it in the chat. If you're interested in attending, it's not an absolute commitment, but we're trying to gauge interest at
Yeah.
this point. Please drop us a line. I put the PISLAP email in there. It's contactpislap@gmail.com. It would be wonderful to have you.
And we will support, as far as I can see, the only costs will be travel and lodging. There may be incremental costs, but very because as we said, the opening will be an evening at the Petersons, and probably the closing on Sunday will also be that. That's what we did 3 years ago. So the cost should be minimal, over and above what I just said with travel and lodging.
I'll just add to say, I think it is so meaningful to have this retreat in Minneapolis this year. I think it is extremely meant to be. It feels like where we should all be together. And Craig, I'm really grateful to you and Bruce for doing a lot of the local heavy lifting to help us connect with local leaders. And I'm really looking forward to being there.
Me
What
too.
we discovered in Minneapolis is we're all leaders. There isn't any big leader.
Right.
You're just showing up, taking care of people. It's called love.
You bet. So, Nanette, anything you'd like to add? And is there anything else you'd like to share about the initiatives that we're
I
engaged in?
think I think those are the main things. We're in the process of, thinking through our call series. So if anybody has anything they would like to, suggest, also please drop us a line. And then since Hans is on the phone, I would just also mention that in the past, Hans, or Heino as he's known, did lead a call with Lisa Jakes on supporting judges and lawyers who are taking courageous actions in this moment through a postcard campaign that we collaborated on. I don't know, Heino, do you want to say a word or two about that?
Could I just say a little bit? So
Sure,
I'm
please.
actually really happy. Two of my calls were canceled. So normally my week, I'm still working. And so my week is always, because it's earlier here, at least goes from my day. My work day normally stops around 1 o'clock or so. But this time they canceled two of the calls, so I could make it. I'm really excited about it. I feel actually that I breathe differently when I see all of you now, which is actually really fundamental, I would say. And I'm missing that. I am interested in helping with this Peter Gable initiative. I mean, Lisa and I have talked about it all the time. Peter and I were roommates for a long, long time, and he was my best friend. So I do have a personal interest, but also professional. I think his part of the writing. And it overlaps so much. We just had two sessions. I mean, one we had on we had a specific session on Minneapolis, what to learn from how you guys organized or didn't organize spontaneous, mutual aid. I mean, the topic was mutual aid, really was the topic. And so we had a public panel and discussion about it here in our group, which is called Town Square Democracy. And I would like to line up more with you guys, and not just on the postcard initiative. We have these two major initiatives. One is the postcards, which are thank you postcards to law professionals, or in general professionals who have a spine, who stand up to dictatorship. And so these are not attacking, they're thank you postcards to strengthen them. And right now they were mainly to lawyers and judges, but we also have done it to scientists and university leaders, and we want to expand it to business leaders, because these are the pillars of dictatorship. And so we need to do that. I want to reach out to you in a more continual manner, because I think you in your group have a wide range of contacts where we could spin this. It shouldn't just come out of Noe Valley. It's a good initiative. The other piece is we have an initiative that is dear to my heart, which is more fundamental conversations about what you are talking about, which is law and ethics and politics. And I wanted to, specifically Lisa said I should reach out to you. I don't have a specific request right now, but probably you all had the same experience 2 weeks ago when Trump announced he's going to wipe out the Iranian civilization tomorrow by 8 o'clock. And I was beside myself that we live in a society with a constitution, and the president announces that he is about to commit or order the commission of genocide and war crimes. And I didn't see a way that the legal system could stop him. The legal system forbids to commit a war crime, so people are not allowed to follow his orders, but that puts the responsibility to the individual pilot and soldier. Apparently, we don't have a responsibility to. There is no way, and I researched, and that was one of the things I sent, but not to you guys, but I sent to some of the law professors that I know. What can we do if this happens again? And it will happen again. He is continually going ahead announcing that he will violate the law. And apparently we don't even have an avenue to bring that to any court. And so this is one of these things where I feel tormented that we just stand on the sidewalk in the street and yell. So there must be something else that the legal system, if it doesn't, then we need to rack our brain how we can take initiative to have these kind of controls in it. Right now, it was just unexpected. And now I would sit now with Peter and he would say, well, okay, we need to build community. And I would say, well, Peter, that's all fine and well, but we're always after the fact. We're always late. The law in general is after the fact. So that's, I don't want to get into it. I was crying.
Hmm. Thank you, Hans. I know.
Right. Yes.
Thank you so much. Well, I think you anticipated where we'd like to go next. Is that correct, Nanette?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
good. Okay. So I think what we'd like to do now is really open it up and hear from each of us, because I think that is one of the traditions of PISLAP is really to hear what we have to say. And I think in the invitation, there was an invitation for that. So the invitation is how do we express lived experience? And I think you put it really well, Nanette, in a email to me. And maybe you want to do the setup of where we go next.
Sure, I can start it. So the thought was, sorry, yeah, I think we expressed it a little bit at the beginning, just for each of us to take a few minutes to share, what's in our minds and hearts right now in terms of our work, and particularly in terms of our thinking about in this moment, as Hans framed it so compellingly, how are we seeking to integrate spirituality, law, and politics, and what are some of the ways on the inner level we're doing that? What are some of the ways we're trying to express it through action? And how can we work together as well? So those are my thoughts about how to kick off the conversation.
Yeah. And I think maybe just going around the circle and doing it popcorn style, when you have something to share, please do so. And so with that, would somebody like to begin?
Sure, I will.
Okay, Stu.
It's really about taking care of people and loving people, and it happens spontaneously because beyond all of our and talking blocks, we are love. So what happened in Minneapolis is a spontaneous arising of the love that we are. And so it didn't start with leaders. It started with people who held up their phones. It particularly started with women because they are able to hold that feeling
Very beautiful.
and get more involved with action and thinking, doing. But men, women, I found this in my collaborative law work, women express the love that dissolves conflict and witnesses the pain of other people.
Hmm.
Enough. Love
Thank you, Stu.
May I go next?
Yeah.
I thank you, Stu. That was a perfect segue. I come to this having spent the last probably decade of my life in consciousness work and depth work. And so I've been out of the legal loop a little bit more than most people, but Stu really hit something that I see as a fundamental aspect of being a container for unity consciousness and what that looks like. and how that is accepted in our own beings so that it's embodied and solid, and you stand in that place of love and light. And what I see as the connective tissue from that higher consciousness is empathy. That's actually that is actually a delivery system.
Mm.
And it's demonstrated already in the very fact of the unity spontaneously coming up. People know this within their beings. They know this within their beings. And, the image to me was the women, I'm not sure what country, but it was so meaningful when all the mothers gathered and they walked barefoot holding their hands. Um, there is something so powerful in that I think trying to put words to is not really. So what I know in my own life and my own being in the work is that all of this that is coming up needs to be transformed anyway. It's not just going to go away by putting the right people in office, you know? And so I think the love really is the most powerful thing. Um, I'm not sure that I have any concrete um, uh, what to do with the people in power, but I think I'm seeing it in this group. I saw it in Martin O'Malley and Rebecca Vallis. Everybody that's coming on is now speaking to a consciousness that they bring to a leadership position, and that allows people to say, we are not alone. We are together. We're seeing each other. And so that's what arose in me. Um, just the singing, the nonviolence, because that perpetuates the separation. One side's right, one side's wrong. It's entrenched, it's judgmental, it doesn't foster the unity of whatever. So I think it's really beautiful what you said, Stu, and what you've said, Craig. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to share something for a minute. I mean, I did share my journal. I just wanted to say, right now, when I hear Marianne and Stu speak, I agree at the fundamental level. And then Peter and I would have these heated discussions. And because I'm kind of more driven to action. And I think that the trick is how we combine this with action. And I do agree that the love will override everything, and it is foundational. And the country we live in is deeply divided. And how
I
do we
think the
deal with
love has to start
how
first.
do we deal with that? With love first is fine, but how do we translate it? So we had in our town square discussions about empathy and how do we accept people and how do we talk to people on the other side? It's more about listening than about anything else. And still there is something where if you want to express love and the bombs are flying and the ice is right in front of you, how do you protect your loved ones? And if that's where I'm very frustrated, and I think that's one of the reasons I'm so upset, is that if we go into this continual action mode, which a lot of the left groups right now, they're running from one disaster, one threat to the other, and they're completely out of breath and don't find the time that you're finding here, then we become embroiled in this. We become the enemy. That's what basically the book is about. That I gave to Peter and I give to people about Cassandra. That's what Cassandra was saying. That the Trojan society in fighting against the warring Greeks became like the Greek society. And we don't want to do that. So I stop right there, but we need to somehow discuss it because otherwise we agree on something without actually dealing with the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like what Marianne said about it's very difficult to put this into words. And, I think we are shifting as humans. And I think these very negative times are bringing awareness to that divide and making it prominent now that we can't just accept what's happening as it is. And from my perspective, I see that the divide is within, and we need to cure that before we move forward. And practices very much like self-reflection, modeling the way we want to, who we want to be in the world, what we want to see, starts with us. And as you were just saying, that you can't fight and expect a different result. We must love, but what does that look like? And I just love what you were talking about what's happening in Minnesota and Minneapolis. I'm in a very strange position here, as I'm on a student visa in America, so I need to be very careful who I'm involved with, what I say, or I get shipped right back home. So I can't be involved politically, but I can bring love. I can absolutely bring love wherever I go. And that's my intention, is to bring that love into the legal system, because I feel that, the legal system is pivotal in governance, in relationship, in all of those things, and we can be the leaders. Lawyers can bring that. And my feeling is, and this is just stepping a little bit aside, is because I'm in Silicon Valley, I am here for a reason. I'm fascinated by AI and how it's changing our world. And I think it's a good thing, because provide the same things that Hino was saying before. The people in power, those people in power are also maybe in power of the artificial intelligence, but we might, if we model a new way of being, demonstrate that it's okay to be more loving in the world. And it's very surprising when you speak to people at this level that a lot of people, there is an undercurrent of love there, and it's bubbling to the surface. And if more of us stand up and be the love, it's more safe for others to be that. And that's the work I'm really doing. But as I said, I'm learning. I'm going to school to get a psychology degree so I can speak in a grounded language. And positive psychology is really that. It's exactly what we're all talking about. They don't quite know what love means. Neither does law, really. But that's my endeavor, is to be the Trojan horse in that way, bring love sneak it in the back door. So it's wonderful to hear from you all, and it's been a while since I've been in this group. So thank you for keeping on inviting me here.
Thank you. I'd like to step in. I'm new to PISLAP, as I met Rebecca and I came into PISLAP at the same time a few years ago here in Minneapolis, and I am not a lawyer. I came in to help facilitate the retreat. But since then, I've become very, very inspired by what I'm seeing and what I've experienced, working very closely first with Nanette and Perry, and now Rebecca and others. I come from a place where our business of 30 years, called the Center for Purposeful Leadership, at the core of our work is love in action. And so at the center of everything is love, as we've said, but action, the two of them together. And there couldn't have been a better demonstration of that than from December through February here in the Twin Cities. And so I'm going to ask everybody to really look at it from that perspective, because that's what happened. A lot of people showed up, put their cameras up, and just were witnesses. And it was a demonstration. One of the signs was, "This is what democracy looks like." Stu, we'll get to you in a minute, okay? Um, this is what democracy looks like. And so, as a case study, I think one of the reasons we wanted to come to Minneapolis was because this is a real opportunity, but because I think it really fits into the credo of PISLAP. And having never met Peter, I don't think, although I was in the Bay Area in the 60s and 70s, we could have met. Um, there's a real opportunity. I was on the street. I was out almost every day, one way or another, driving kids back and forth to school, delivering food. And to me, there are thousands of people doing that that may not have come out in the social media or in the news, but behind all of this is this sense of neighborliness and love for community. And you see signs all over, you know, leave my neighbors alone, love thy neighbor. I mean, it was just so clear. And so I'm, to me, that's an opportunity for PieSlap. It's where I live. I don't mean just physically, but that's where I live in my heart, my soul. And yes, it's a hard time. It's a real hard time. And what a huge opportunity we have. And I'm not just talking about the midterms, but the opportunity to shift. Um, and that's what I shift consciousness, shift the way we are, together. Um, I spend a lot of time I spend a lot of time with men, and I spend a lot of time outside the cities. So I get an earful of what's on Fox News. That's what I get an earful of. And but at the heart of it is people who love their families, people who love their place, people that love their country, people that love their neighbors. And that's exciting. That's what I think's coming. That's the breakthrough. I'm complete. Thanks.
Wonderful. You see, Kim has her hand up maybe before we.
Yes,
Yeah,
I did try. Thank you, Nan.
Sorry.
I
Thank
didn't
you
see
all.
it.
Oh,
Forgive me
that's
if I
okay.
jumped in. Yeah.
No, 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 it floated by.
Okay.
I want to thank you all for sharing. And I've been listening very deeply. And I've been with this organization since I think its inception, perhaps,
I think it
with
is.
Perry and yeah.
Great to see you.
You too. And I want to use the prompts, which is reflect, connect, and efforts. And when I reflect on my lived experiences, plural, my path since meeting Peter um, has been about pursuing my muse, staying focused, and knowing that spirituality does live within the legal and political. And I will always cherish his support and understanding. And most importantly, I think, well, not most importantly, but his work as well. I love reading everything that he has, and the idea that we are going to archive his work just makes my heart flood with love and appreciation. And if I could work on that, or if you need help in any way, just let me know.
Will do.
So the lived experience of integrating spirituality in law has been, because of that connection, very, very rich and deep. Um, the work that I do is um, deeply in law. The Law and Society Association is having its annual conference in San Francisco this year. And because of that, I can travel and be there. I cannot go back to Minneapolis or North Carolina and these other places, which I would love to do, but cannot without virtual support. And so to be able to be present in San Francisco here is wonderful. I wanted to let you all know that I am part of a collaborative research network with LSA, and it is very beautiful because it's law in the political environment. And so I will be presenting a paper there in May of this year, May 28th through 31st, on exactly that spirituality, law, and the political shifts. Particularly, I'm looking at state capacity. And right now, there's about 4 different theories in the law about how we should go forward understanding state capacity. And my paper, to let you all know, will put spirituality at the center of it and the unitive effect of spirituality in terms of folks being able to do the research as lawyers, coming to aha moments about where there are biases and noise and other things, and how that they can then bring that forward in the work that they do, but at the same time taking care of themselves by engaging in spiritual practices, rooting themselves in wisdom traditions or other means of staying mentally secure and healthy. And together that can inform actions in the world, particularly in the law and policy, that will give us a little more compassion, especially through state theory. The aspect of the 4 that I'm focusing on is the need to fulfill human um, needs fulfillment according to the psychology, Virginia, of, of Maslow. And the highest, not the highest, he never put it in a pyramid or a hierarchy, but the self-transcendence part of it, where there is this feeling of a unitive, me and everyone else together. And so I'm really going to be pushing for that aspect of law embracing state theory to be that unitive uh, way of seeing it. So, again, I want to thank you all for supporting me on my spiritual journey in the law. And I wanted to let you know why I don't show up in a lot of places that you have conferences, but I'm always with you. And if anybody is planning to go to LSA, please let me know. It'd be lovely to meet up with you all then. Thank you.
I don't show up anywhere, Kim. I don't show up either. I'm 95 years old. I stay home and put out my love. But what I want people to know from 30 years of working at collaborative law, which I started in 1990, won me, took 3, found that other people had to do it. That's where it started. But what I found is you have to start with love. Love comes first. The action does not come until you have the love grounding. Otherwise, you have war. Otherwise, you have violence. So the men, action by men, has to be grounded in the love that comes from women. That's what I found from my work with collaborative law. That's why now there is probably 80 to 90% of the 30 or 40,000 collaborative lawyers in the world are women because they are able to hold the love much better than men can. Men have to get their love from the women because men are too caught up for the traditional men I'm talking about, not not people like Hans, not people like Craig, but the people who have traditionally come from the blocks that they have to their love.
And Stu,
The
I
block
want,
like says be a man, don't cry. The blocks that come from testosterone hormones that have been basically the kind of things that really been, hate to say this crudely, but testosterone is fuck it or kill it. So we have to overcome that with the men. That's why with Craig, he has the love and the action, but I just want to caution that action comes after the love.
Thank you, Stu.
And as
Thank you
Ghani
both.
said, the power of love as is overcoming the love of power.
and Stu,
And
I
that's
want to
what the shift
say,
is all about.
I
Thank you,
have
Kim. I love you.
I have you in my paper. And the work that you did in the nomination that the organization got for the Nobel Prize. And so, yes, thank you for all that you've done for us. Thank you.
Love you. Love you all. That's what we're all about. We are love. We are love. That's a self-transcendence, or we call it self-realization.
Yeah.
Just finding out that we are this love, each of us. And that's what woke up in Minneapolis. Amen.
I wanted to jump in for a moment after all
Good.
these wonderful sharings. It was just wonderful hearing everybody's perspective and people coming from very different places. What comes first? What comes second? Does it all come together? I guess for me, I've kind of been both kind of a lifelong, I guess, activist, but also lifelong committed to the same impulses that all of you are sharing on the spiritual level, the primacy of love, empathy, care, treasuring each other, and the ways everyone has expressed so beautifully. Really, it's not just the words; it's the soul that everybody has brought to their sharings that I find very moving, and it just always reinvigorates my feeling of connection to PISLAP and why it's so important to me. I work in a law office where we serve a very low income community and deal with, just people terrible difficult life situations. And so many of my clients bring such love for their children, for their community members to their struggles, even though they're struggling mightily. And it's always very reaffirming to me. And I think empowering people with knowledge, with information, and strength in through that in being empowered is very much an expression of love for them and them being able to bring their love out in a way that actually that can make a difference for them. So that's on the individual level, and then I was very struck by what Heino brought up, which I felt equally about that statement about Iran that just struck, I was just felt stricken when I heard that. And, the failure of love on our international level and the need to reassert the primacy of that through the kind of movements that Craig was describing. So it's all a weave, and everybody has a different focus and lens. And that's why it's so fascinating to be part of PISLAP I just Googled the Law and Society, which a page which I hadn't looked at in quite a while, or I put it in the chat, and that looks fabulous. And everybody is doing such wonderful work. You know, anyway, just all that to say, I'm very glad to be a part of all this. Craig looks like he wants to share something.
No, I was just moving my hands, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm wondering, since all of us have
Yeah.
shared, if there's anything else you'd like to share, Nanette. And I see it's almost the top of the
Yeah.
hour. And if there's more that we want to go with, great. If it's time for us to close, I'm sure we could all use the space, but just wanted to look at, see if there's anything more that we would like to share with one another. Perhaps it's things that we're doing that we haven't shared yet.
Love you all.
Stu, I want to rekindle our lunches. So I'll be in touch with you. We haven't had lunch in a couple of months, so I want to do that.
You can even come without the spaghetti sauce. He always gives us such great spaghetti sauce right from his
Yes.
garden.
Nice.
And it does look like we have a San Francisco area contingent. I don't know
Yes, we
where
do.
everybody's living, so that's good to know. And if it's
Yeah.
okay with everybody, maybe I'll just drop Heino a line and include Virginia and Kim, just to everybody
Yep.
to say hello over email. And it's always good to build community and make
Thank you.
connections. Wish we had someone in Milwaukee, Marianne, but
Oh,
we
no, it's
used
okay.
to, but we don't at the moment.
You know,
But
the
if
the
you find
spirit,
somebody, please bring them along.
yeah, the spiritual work that I was drawn to, that I'm involved in, had its origin in San Francisco in 1968.
Yeah.
Which is what?
Um, it's not like secretive. It's underground. It's sort of like whatever. It is a transmission, sort of like the Jungian ion. It's called the Holy Order of Mans, but that is not a group. It's talks about the order of consciousness and
Sure.
patterns. But anyway, it all came together in the heyday. Actually, the house that Father Paul started the order in was bought. Timothy Leary owned it, if you remember, and Pete Seeger was a part of all of that. So there's I'm just really feeling the presence of something very alive and moving in that Bay Area
Yeah.
that is really beautiful.
My
And
love in San
I
Francisco.
know. But we live in the Midwest because it's grounded here. It really is. It's a working place. There's something happening.
Yeah.
Something so important and beautiful is being grounded and visible.
I want to also reach out to those of you that haven't been as involved as you maybe were in the past, to say there's a lot of opportunity now, not only with the what I would call the Gable initiatives of the archive and the reader and the institute. And I heard you say, Kim, that you'd like to be involved. Well, there are going to be opportunities for that to rekindle a lot of the things that Peter started and now being carried on by us. And I don't mean just us being the executive committee, but us being, PISLAP writ large, all of us, and and to expand, I think, what Peter, saw initially, and what those of you like Kim and Nanette, early on. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many things that those of us that are new to it need to learn and need to know about, the early days and your experiences. And I'm learning, slowly. Like I said, I'm having lunch with Stu, so Stu's filling me in on a lot of the
Mhm.
stuff that, from that perspective. But, so I look forward to more.
Thank you. Maybe we should wrap up now. And it's been wonderful being with
Yeah.
everybody. And thank you for
Yeah.
Yeah.
joining.
Love you
Thank
all.
you so
Yeah.
much. Great to be
Thank
with you
Wonderful to
you.
all.
meet you
Keep
all.
up the success. You have grounded success stories to use.
Yes.
Nanette,
Bye.
All right.
could
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you very much.
everyone.
Nanette,
Yeah.
could you stay on for a second?
Lovely
Yes,
to
just
see
give me
you
one
all.
moment. Lovely to
Bye.
see you too. Bye.
Bye.